Road with Riley. I'm Riley Mulherkar, and we're back after a week off. We missed you so much. I got a new setup here, new little studio. I got a haircut, in the quarantine. Shout out to my fiance Therese for this little fade going on. And we're back with another episode, this time going to the city of Chicago. If you know about jazz music, you know about Chicago. From early on, Louis Armstrong, King Oliver, and the Lincoln Gardens, and all the way to this day, the scene in Chicago has remained strong. Now, this is a very exciting episode for me because this is the first time I'm getting to actually meet someone through On the Road with Riley. I'm talking about the great saxophonist, educator, player, Jarrard Harris. So let's check in with Jarrard, see what's going on in Chicago, and see what he's been up to, what he's thinking about during these times that we're all moving through together. Mr. Harris, how you doing?
All right, what's happening?
It's nice to meet you.
The pleasure's all mine.
I've long seen your name and all the things you're involved with, Jazz Institute of Chicago, Jazz Educators Network. Your name comes up in all the wonderful clubs in Chicago, whether it be the Showcase, Andy's, Winters, of course, the Green Mill is also in Chicago. Can you tell me a little bit about the scene in Chicago and everything you're involved with normally out there?
I've been in Chicago for 20 years now. I came here back in the late 90s to go to graduate school at DePaul, and Chicago was a great scene for me in the sense that it wasn't necessarily New York, but it was big enough to where it's like, man, it sustained a large musical scene, and there was like grass, I could have a yard, eventually at some point. And so now I just started, I was teaching also at Northwestern University for the past 5 years, but I just finished my first year of teaching at Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana. So that's been interesting in the sense that I don't live there. I still live here, so I commute back and forth to teach, but that's been I'm always about meeting new people and, spreading the message of the music, so that's something that they're very interested in at Purdue. And so I like being there. It's a great scene there too.
And that's what brings us together today, spreading the mission of the music. And so I've been talking to folks all over in Philadelphia and Portland and New York and Seattle and California. And we've all sort of had a similar experience when COVID hit. All of our gigs were canceled, all of our tours were canceled, all of our educational opportunities were canceled. But can you tell me a little bit about your experience in Chicago? And do you remember any certain moment of where you were when you realized what was on the horizon and what the scene has been, what sort of contact you've been in with all the folks that you normally play together, work with together out in Chicago?
To be honest, it really didn't hit me until almost like May, where it was kind of like, the thing of, being fortunate enough to have, my job teaching at Purdue, it was like, I started really thinking about like, you check social media and you're looking, keeping up with your friends and whatnot. And to think that, man, for cats, it's almost over. It's like you have no income. And this is for cats, not cats who play and have second jobs and stuff like I'm fortunate to do. Not that it's unfortunate to have a second job, but you know what I mean. But there are cats who just play. And it's like, man, all of that is over. And it's like, and it's not just here, it's like all the festivals that's happening in Europe and around the world, all the summer things that happen, weddings. If you're a jobbing musician, you just play, social gigs like that, all that is coming to a screeching halt. It's like, man, nobody's bills are coming to screeching halts. Nobody's rents or mortgages or health insurance or whatever. And then, the next scariest thing became, it's like, well, how can you help friends out, where it's like, you start to see a lot of cats playing online and like having virtual tip jars and stuff. And, it was like, we try to give money that way, in the sense of, man, I'm fortunate enough to still be working, and so I'm still getting paid, but there are a lot of my friends who aren't, so how can I help, or how can, what can we do to help? So it was good to see a rallying in the musician community of, creative ways to, how are we going to work this out? And, it's a constant evolution of, you've seen an awakening in the musicians of, man, how are we going to make things better for musicians, on the other side of this, because you could also say that, man, you know, things weren't always great. Cats will always complain about, you know, who gets paid how much for gigs, and you know, if you take little, they'll give everybody little, you know, getting on a scene of, you know, let's all be in this together so that we can all be treated equally and fairly. And I will say I've seen a greater conversation about that, you know, so it's like, oh, you know, on the other side of this, maybe we will, you know, come closer to having some true, you know, appreciation when it comes to, you know, how musicians are treated. You know,
I hear that, because I think, you know, we've been seeing that on the macro level as a country, in terms of, you know, this moment has brought about a unique opportunity to reflect on all the things, and the pandemic has uncovered a lot of things that have not been working long before this moment. And
right.
Then also within, I think, our own communities and within our industry, there's also reckonings happening of, you know, what was not working. So when we go back into this, how can we change the structures that be, so that they're more equitable, so that musicians are, you know, treated in the ways that we deserve to be.
This is a unique point in time where there seems to be so many things converging at the same time. Where we talk about George Floyd incident, the Breonna Taylor incident, you know, where I'm from Louisville. You know, you have all these things happening, and people are now, you know, I don't think I've ever seen the American public be this aware. It'll be interesting to see, when are we really going to come together as a nation behind this, because, you know, and it could just be how, you know, we hear the stories, you know, spin from news channels. Everybody has their version that they want to tell, you know, but right now it seems like, you know, we're not quite all on the same page, you know, so this is our chance, you know, to come together in lots of ways. And yes, it's an interesting time, you know, here in Chicago.
Speaking of coming together, I wonder if we can come together and play a tune together. You know, it's our first time meeting, and it's our first time playing together. Is there any tune that has been on your mind, or any tune you'd like to play today?
I always like to play the tune, There'll Never Be Another You. Katie Ernst, who great bassist, who I think we might get a chance to see soon. We play this jam session through the Jazz Institute of Chicago for young musicians. We used to do it every month. And I would always talk about, there's certain tunes that everybody should know. And there's certain tunes that have lots of educational value to them, in the sense of, this tune uses, you know, some tonic major here, has minor 2/5s, major 2/5s. You know, so this is like, There'll Never Be Another You is a great tune. I really like it, so I think that'd be a great tune to play.
That sounds perfect, and it's a testament to the power of this music, where two people who don't know each other can come together and play, you know, common language together. So how about a little There Will Never Be Another You? You mentioned the wonderful Chicago bassist, Katie Ernst, one of my favorite Chicago musicians, one of my favorite musicians in this country. So let's loop her in, and we're so excited to rep Chicago for On the Road with Riley. Thank you, Jarrard, for talking today. It's wonderful to meet you and get to hear from you.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine, man. Let's do it.
Okay, There Will Never Be Another You, featuring Jarrard Harris and Katie Ernst.
1, 2, 1, 2.